Hey everybody, Tony D, and here's my hot take on how to avoid Antifa, or how to deal with Antifa, I should say. All right, so the number one thing with regards to Antifa is that they are an urban construct, let's call it. They tend to be in urban communities. Maybe they drift out into the suburbs once in a while, but odds are they're going to be in very urban centers. That's where their numbers are. That's where they can do the most damage. They've drifted out into the suburbs. They have not been met with any sort of success there. And in rural areas, forget it. There's just not enough of them. People tend to have guns in rural areas, not really working out for them well. So, and they want attention. Understand they want attention. So if you're going into an urban center, you have to be very wary if you hear that there is any activities in terms of protest. Now, Antifa, they're sort of like the predators. They're attracted by heat and chaos. In this case, any protests they'll attempt to infiltrate, especially the Black Lives Matter protests, which they've been deep into since the beginning of this round of protests for BLM. So you should avoid those protests. If you hear one, don't go into the city. Don't go anywhere near where you hear there's a protest. That's the number one way you can avoid them, obviously. Now, you may forget or not hear about it and go into the city for whatever you're doing. And what do you do if you see them? Well, again, avoid them. So if you see them at a distance, go the other way. It doesn't matter if you're inconvenienced. You do not want to risk going through a mob of these morons. They're dangerous in a mob. Understand that you can't reason with them. They're not going to sit down and have a discussion with you. They're not nice people. If you pull out your phone and start videotaping, they will react very angrily at you. They're basically looking for a fight. Almost all these people are looking for a fight. Now, it kind of depends on who you are as a person, because understand that a lot of these Antifa members, they're white college students, and they think they're saving all the minorities. So if you're a minority or a marginalized person, and you exhibit that sort of role outwardly, you're marginally more safe, because they will assume you're one of the people they're saving. And so you'd be slightly less in danger. But if you're like me, if you're like an older white guy, you got to avoid these guys. You got to get away from them as far as possible. Don't drive your car through them. Stop, turn around, turn away. Don't try to confront them unless you have a whole crew of your own guys. Then maybe. But even then, you may be in for a knockdown, drag-out fight. Understand that the members of Antifa, some of them carry mace. They may have brass knuckles. They've been known, they definitely will carry some sort of club. Sometimes they'll carry a protest sign, but basically it's a club with a sign on it. And so the sign is really an excuse to carry a club. You can see the Antifa members. They tend to be wearing hoodies and goggles and bandanas. They try to form what's called the black bloc. They all want to dress similarly so they can get away from the cops and nobody can identify them. So understand that in this time of the beer virus, it's not just, well, those guys are wearing masks, so they're okay. They're wearing masks and the hoodies, the black hoodies, and they're all in black. Then you got to worry. You got to worry. And if there's a mob of them especially, you got to try to stay away from them. Now, if you turn a corner and you run into a bunch of them unexpectedly, and that can happen in an urban center, your first reaction should be to, number one, do not engage them. Just ignore them. You've made a mistake, but they may be targeting other people. Just let them pass by, and hopefully you'll skate by unscathed. If they confront you, do not try to reason with them. Join them. That's my advice. You have to say or do anything to convince them that you're on their side. Start chanting is my advice. Start chanting Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And don't laugh. If you laugh or you smile when you do it, no, this is serious for them. You have to be serious when you do this. Come here, Joan. You want to come up here? You have to be serious when you do it, because if they sense you're the least bit insincere, they could turn on you in a dime. They'll just turn on you. If you're younger, if you're college age, it should be an easy sell. You could just say, well, oh, was the protest today? Ah, damn it, I must have read the wrong post. I thought it was tomorrow. I got to go get my stuff. If you get a chant going and they go with you and they start following you, just chant. Just keep chanting. And then at some point, just slow your roll a little bit. Let a few of them get ahead of you. And then when you can, just sort of drift out of the crowd and walk away. Just walk away. If you do get confronted by them and they identify you and they start to be hostile, don't run. If you run, that'll set them off and they'll run after you, because understand that they're a mob. They're a mob, and you don't want to be cornered, but you don't want to stop moving and you don't want to run. Just turn around and start walking. Now, the best thing you could do is find the cops. Now, the cops will probably be nowhere in sight, because you've run into a mob of these guys and they usually only feel brave when there's no cops around. And they've probably driven them away because the cops don't want to deal with these idiots. So try to get inside, try to go inside a building. That could be really tough right now with the beer virus, and you're in an urban setting and most of these places are closed. Why the hell are you in the city? But if you can't get inside into a place, just keep walking. If they confront you, just try to convince them that you agree with everything they say. Just agree with everything they say. That's your only chance of getting out of there unscathed. There's no way you're going to stand there and go, well, I see your point, but I'd like to explain my nuanced position. No, don't bother. They're likely to just take a swing at you. If you totally agree with everything they say, and you're convincing, they will probably just say, "Oh, okay. Well, welcome to the cause, comrade." And offer to go get them bottles of water or something, and as soon as you can, just get the hell away from them. Now, if there's only like one or two of them, maybe you could ignore them. Maybe you could fight your way out of it. Depends on what your situation is. I wouldn't try it. Understand that they're probably armed. They're probably armed, and they don't have any problem hitting somebody from behind. They don't have any problem lying about you. So if there's a lot of them are girls, so they have no problem lying about what you did to them and being the victim. Even if you win a fight with them, they'll go right to the cops. I've seen videos of Antifa guys. They start a fight and they start to lose. They go right to the cops, right to them. They don't care about that kind of hypocrisy. They don't care how it looks. They don't care about winning. They only care about power. Understand, if you fight them, they'll do anything to win. Anything. If they got to shoot you in the face with mace, they got to punch you in the face, and don't attempt to engage them. Try to disengage. Just try to walk away. Just say, "Hey, man, I didn't come here for a fight. Understand you're dealing with a gang and a mob. They're a mob, and they're angry." I just watched a video of a BLM Antifa rally in San Jose, I guess it was, and they went onto a highway, stopped traffic, and they just started attacking people. There was no rhyme or reason to it. None of these people, I'm sure, knew who these people were or why they were doing this. They were just trying to drive down the road. They blocked the whole traffic, and when anybody crossed them, they started smashing the windows. They started screaming at them. They tried to pull people out of cars. One guy got out of his car. He was like a few lengths back. He didn't know what was going on, so he walked up ahead, and you could tell by his body language. He was like, "What the F is this? I'm going to go up here and see." He was a big guy. But when he got there, he realized there was a huge mob of these idiots, and he couldn't take them all. So he turned around and walked the other way. Well, they chased after him, and he didn't run, which was good. Eventually, they caught up to him, and they turned him around, and they just started screaming at him. No, nonsense. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Like, he didn't know how to respond, really, and I don't blame him, because when they're just screaming at you, and these guys had masks on and signs, and they were just looking to provoke him. And by his body language, I could tell he was looking to punch somebody who was blocking all the traffic. But a lot of people just turned around and went the other way. That's the best course of action. Just turn around, go the other way. Call the cops. Call the cops, and hopefully they'll come out and clear these idiots. They should. That's their job. But, they haven't been doing their job recently for various reasons. Depends on the part of the country you're in. So, number one rule with Antifa, do not engage. Do not engage with them. Get away from them. Avoid them at all costs. And if you do confront them, just agree. Agree with everything they say. Tell them that that's the best idea you've ever heard, and try to be sincere when you say it. Join their mob until you can walk away, until they stop paying attention to you, and then just walk away and never go back to that area ever again.